Hello, thanks for tuning in. I am Latif Warnick of One Soul, one source of universal love. Today I want to talk about a serious issue we are facing here in the US today, and that is the opioid epidemic. This opioid crisis is like the new crack epidemic, except small-time drug dealers are not making these in their kitchens. The large pharmaceutical companies are producing these drugs here in the US and in other countries like China, and of course shipping it here. These drugs are sold to doctors and typically require a prescription, but due to their high demand, there is a huge black market for these drugs as they are sold out the back door, obtained with fake prescriptions, stolen, or acquired through illegal means. President Obama, along with the Affordable Care Act, designated funds to help people with opioid treatment. However, as President Trump and the Congress seek to find ways to repeal Obamacare, dollars for this treatment may be taken away. Basically, opiates are a class of strong painkillers that are derived from opium, such as morphine and heroin. Opioids are essentially synthetic and semi-synthetic drugs that are similar to opiates but slightly different and include drugs like Percocet, Vicodin, OxyContin, and fentanyl. Now, this is according to a report conducted by the DEA, which states, and I quote, "Overdose deaths, particularly from prescription drugs and heroin, have reached epidemic levels. This current opioid epidemic has the historically highest opioid death rate in the US, killing on the average 10.3 people for every 100,000. In some other states like New Hampshire and West Virginia, it is far, far worse. With the ongoing crisis affecting so many diverse communities, opinions about drug abuse are gaining more and more attention as it is impacting more and more families. Many of us are familiar with Prince, Purple Rain and his music. And on April 21st, 2016, he was found dead in his home, which was ultimately proven to be the result of an opioid overdose of fentanyl. He reportedly had been fighting addiction and had some treatments, sought treatment at least more than once. This is how powerful these drugs truly are. Similarly, we lost another music icon, Michael Jackson, who died on June 25th, 2009, due to an overdose of propofol. Now, propofol isn't considered one of the opiates like the others we mentioned. It is actually used to medically help people sleep. However, Michael was inappropriately using this medicine with the assistance of Dr. Conrad Murray. Dr. Murray was later found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, but nonetheless, Michael was the victim of an addiction to these painkillers, and we lost two great musical giants because of it. Now, the most important takeaway from this is how to recognize the signs and symptoms of any sort of substance abuse. Identifying the addiction of opioids is the first step towards treatment. The signs and symptoms can typically be physical, behavioral, and psychological. One primary sign of addiction is the inability to limit use of the substance beyond what is clinically recommended. The addiction to these opioids often ultimately leads to an overdose. An overdose of opioids requires immediate emergency medical treatment. If you even suspect someone has overdosed on opioids, call 911 immediately. One other caveat that addicts typically face is the fact that when they abuse these drugs, they begin to develop a tolerance to it. As such, they begin to seek out higher and higher dosages and more concentrated forms of these opioids. Then if they manage to successfully stop for a while, that tolerance fades. But if they digress and go back to trying to use the same dosage they were using before, their body can go into shock. For those who may be trying to overcome an addiction, there is no overnight solution. Unfortunately, you can't just wave a magic wand. Unlike some other addictions, opioids are extremely difficult to break cold turkey, as the withdrawal symptoms can be rather severe. People can rarely conquer this on their own. It oftentimes requires a professional's assistance. A doctor can prescribe medicines to help you gradually break the addiction, but even if you're successful, it is ideal to get some ongoing treatment or therapy, as relapses are common. Those seeking more information can go to drugabuse.gov or do an online search for a treatment center near you. But don't hesitate, as you never know when your next indulgence may be your last. Best wishes to you. God bless.